transfer window ends tonight. Any business in or out?
We've obviously got a few members of the squad who are available for transfer, and conversations have been ongoing with the players and with their representatives. So we'll wait and see what happens in the next few hours with regards to that. Obviously, in the position that we're in the Championship, the domestic loan window stays open for another month for us. So there's no emergency with regards to bringing anybody in. But if one does come up that we think is going to improve the squad, then we're in a position to do something about that.
And is there any particular position on the pitch you're looking at?
Well, we've done a bit of good business in the early part of the window, getting the likes of David Wotherspoon and Alex Grieve in the building. We've certainly strengthened those forward areas, but obviously Ollie Denham has left the club, and that has left a space in the squad in that back line. So Declan Gallagher being out injured at the moment, just coming off the back of surgery. We expect Declan to join back in with the group in a couple of weeks' time, but even then that would only leave us with 3 recognised centre backs. So we do feel that we need to strengthen in that particular department, and we are talking to 1 or 2 players at the moment with a view to bringing them in.
And obviously Ross Doherty's back from injury. Is that almost like a new signing?
Yeah, look, great to have Doc back in the squad, and obviously in the starting 11 last weekend. But we do need to be careful with him, hence why he only played the hour on Saturday against Dunfermline. We don't want to ask too much of him too soon and run the risk of him breaking down again. So we're going to manage him properly. The minutes on Saturday would have done him the world of good, and we'll try and get some more valuable minutes in him on Saturday and see how far we can push him against Ayr United.
And how happy are you with the current squad and their capability of getting promotion?
I'm delighted with the squad. I think we've had our fair share of injuries and setbacks over the course of the season, and we've had to go without some key players for some considerable period of time. But credit to the rest of the group, they've been able to manage that. And currently our position in the table is exactly where we want to be. Obviously, top of the table. Defensively, been excellent. Only conceded 10 goals up to now in the league. But Saturday against Dunfermline was disappointing in the forward areas. We had plenty of control in the game, in terms of possession. We just lacked that little bit of creativity in the final third. And I think that's the hardest part in the game at any level, is coming up with solutions about trying to put the ball in the back of the net. So we've had a really good week's training. We've spent a lot of time working on that, and hopefully that will come to fruition on Saturday against Ayr.
And looking ahead to that game, what are you expecting from Ayr?
Well, they've had a couple of really good results recently, and obviously new manager in place, and he seems to have got the desired reaction that I'm sure he would have been looking for. Always expect a difficult game, especially away from home down at Ayr, but we've done very well there last time, and albeit someone different in the dugout, pretty much a similar squad of players that we're going to be facing. So the focus, as always, is on ourselves, being organised defensively, having a good structure to the team when we don't have possession of the ball, and then try and be open and expansive when we do.
And you touched on the draw there, but how important is it to get victories to maintain the advantage you have at the top of the table? Yes,
look, 3 points is what we go into every game trying to get, but it's not always as straightforward or as easy as people might seem. You've always got 11 opposition players up against you doing their best to try and defend their own goal, and I thought Dunfermline done that really well last Saturday at Tannadice. They sat in with 10-11 men behind the ball at times. It was very compact, wasn't a great deal of space for us, and we did find it difficult. But throughout the course of the season, you only need to look at the table to see the volume of goals that we have scored. It's not something that we can be too harsh on the players with. We just have to come up with better solutions and better decision making in those key moments, and hopefully, as I said, Saturday that will happen.
And your successor at Aberdeen, Barry Robson, has now obviously been sacked. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't have a great deal of thought on it, to be honest with you. Always disappointed to see any young manager losing their job, but that's the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, if you don't get the results, then the manager tends to be the one that makes way. So my focus is on Dundee United. We're just focusing on trying to get promotion, try and win this league, try and get back into the Premier League, and try and go and mix it with the big boys next year. Hell of a lot of work to do between now and the end of the season, but we've put ourselves in a good position.
Perfect, thank you.
Jim, you touched upon Ross earlier, but to have your skipper back right at the business end of the season for the title run, and that could be huge for you, couldn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know, you want to have your best players available. We've got real strength and depth when we do have a fully fit squad, and I think we've got lots of competition for places now. And you know, that's been the message to the players all week, really. And I think it keeps everybody on their toes. You know, the standard in training this week was brilliant, real intensity and real high tempo in every session that we've done. And you know, we're all pulling in the right direction, which is the most important thing.
And with all the media attention and everything surrounding, you know, Scott Brown taking over at Ayr United, might that work for Dundee United? Might that take a little bit of the pressure off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, we put pressure on ourselves every week to go out and try and win, regardless of who the opposition is. You know, I do think the championship this season has had a lot of good positive exposure when you look at the characters and the managers who are currently working in the league. You know, Duncan Ferguson obviously up at Inverness, and given what he's done as a player, and obviously Scott Brown, you know, the success that he has as a player. He's at that early stage of his managerial career. Pretty sure he's picked up some real valuable information off of some of the managers that he's worked with in the past. And yeah, I mean, look, it's great for the league, it's great for Scottish football to have all these big names and big characters working in the league, whether it's the Premier League or the Championship. So certainly adds to the overall feeling, and from a marketing perspective, I'm pretty sure it's a good thing as well.
Absolutely, and obviously 3 points would set you up brilliantly for a mouth-watering clash against Raith Rovers next weekend. How important is it just to park that to one side, just ignore it for the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's that old, boring cliche of one game at a time, isn't it? You know, and it's that's all we're trying to focus on. You know, it certainly is the business end of the season. We do feel as if last weekend was a missed opportunity, not being able to pick up the maximum points. But you know, it certainly wasn't for the lack of trying or the lack of effort on my players' part. You know, we just have to try and get back to winning ways this weekend against a very good Ayr United team. But we're very positive and very confident going into it.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
You've talked earlier about how satisfied you are with Dundee United defensively and how it's been all season. But one of the positive things that came out of the defence last week was how well Ross Graham performed. Probably his best game since he's come in to fill that defence, obviously with the injuries and things from there. How pleasing was that for you to see him fulfil his potential?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm delighted for Ross, you know, and he's another, you know, academy graduate as well. And you know, we've had a number of academy graduates playing in the first team this year. Ross has waited very patiently for his opportunity. Declan Gallagher and Kevin Holt have been probably the best pairing in the league statistically. But you know, as can happen throughout the season, injuries and suspensions, and you know, when the opportunity comes, you've got to take it. And I thought, you know, Ross and Kevin against Inverness and against Dunfermline were both outstanding. And you know, clean sheets have been a big thing for us this season. You know, we put a big emphasis on that at the beginning of the season, during pre-season, about the organisation and the discipline that it takes, and the concentration levels as well. But you know, Ross was excellent on Saturday, and that'll do his confidence the world of good.
Looking at the midfield as well, with that Ross Docherty coming back into the team, how much more stability does he bring when he's in the middle of the park with that captain and
He's a very influential player on the pitch, and a really influential character in the dressing room as well. You know, as a manager, you can't have enough good experienced players in the squad that can carry out the message that you're trying to work on during the week. And you know, Ross is certainly that type. He's not anywhere near the level of fitness that we need yet, given the amount of matches that he's missed. But you know, we will hopefully in the next couple of weeks get him back to where he needs to be, and that hour that he got against Dunfermline will do him the world of good. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more of it again on Saturday.
Looking at games coming up in the future, do you think there will be more games like Saturday where the teams will sit in and have 9 or 10 players behind the ball, because then United are sitting at the top of the league and how threatening they are to the fans?
I think that's something that we've faced all season, in particular at Tannadice at home. Teams come with a game plan of trying to frustrate. I remember, similar situations when I was at St Mirren, for argument's sake. When you go to some of the bigger clubs, the message to the players is in that opening 15-20 minutes, not to be too open, try and frustrate the opposition, try and turn the fans and try and get that anxiety drifting onto the pitch. And I think that's what most teams, when they come to Tannadice, that's what their game plan is. Getting that early goal is always important, because then the opposition's game plan goes out the window, where they have to come out and be a bit more expansive and trying to get back into the game. But speaking to the managers that I have spoken to, if they come to Tannadice and take a point, they tend to be very, very pleased. But we just have to accept that's the way it's going to be. It's been what we've faced all season, and we have to just get better at coping with those situations, particularly at home. Our away record is exceptional.
Looking at on the offensive side of things, up at the corners when they're taking dead ball kicks, very often there's two people going out to the corner for their benefits, obviously, of being able to have an in-swinger or an out-swinger from there. But how much does that balance out against the fact that there's one less player in the middle of the park?
Listen, there's many different setups you can do for corners. We opt to put two men out in the hope that we might be able to work a short corner if the opposition only send one defender out into those areas. We tend to just go 1 for 1 at the back, when most teams would keep two defenders back the park. So it doesn't really cause us too many problems in the penalty area, because we've got a good number of bodies in there to go and attack the ball. I think statistically, if you look at corners for in this league, I don't think there'll be many teams out there that have scored more goals than us from set plays, whether that's wide free kicks or directly from corners. But I do like to have a right footer and a left footer over the ball, and then they can assess the situation, have a look at what the penalty area looks like, and see what delivery is going to bring the most advantage to us.